This is nuts! Literally, as that is Mario kicking poor Luigi in the fireballs as part of an early storyboard sequence for the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and we have to talk about this. So this comes to us by way of a couple of recently discovered storyboard sequences for the Mario movie, posted by the creator themselves, being Marani Taylor, who's worked on a variety of Illumination and other animated films. And I have to give a shout out to Portal S Mario, the Twitter account, for pointing us toward these in the first place, because this is freaking crazy. So this first one comes to us by way of an early storyboard in the pizzeria segment, and I'll just let the creators speak for themselves as they walk you through the relevant part of the storyboard, and we'll reconvene afterwards. So here we go.
Luigi says, "Let's eat." They both grab a slice of pizza. Mario's eating. He looks and sees Luigi grabbing more. He's like, hey, he's getting more than I am, so he grabs a piece. Luigi grabs a piece, shoves it in his mouth. He goes for the last one. Luigi sees this, goes for the garlic knots. Starts to eat them, but just then Mario hits the table, grabs the rest of the knots, but before he can eat them, Luigi grabs them from him. Huh? Looks over, he's got all the knots. Uh-oh. Looks down, Mario's kicked him in the nuts. Nuts for knots. They come back to Mario, he's got him. Luigi slams him on the chin with the table, and all the knots roll towards him. But then Mario puts the cups over him, and now it's like, haha, it's on, it's a shell game. They face off. Luigi just grabs the table out from under the cups, the knots fall out, he grabs them, looks at him, haha, he runs off. And then Mario's like, oh no. As he's going for Luigi, he gets grabbed by a guy off screen. We see it's the owner who wants him to pay the bill. He looks over, and Luigi is now finishing off the garlic knots, and we're out.
Pretty crazy, right? It seems like Mario and Luigi had a very different relationship in this early version of the movie, and thank God they changed it, because that does not sit right with me at all. Although I should mention, this isn't the first time that Mario's been completely mean to Luigi.
Nice job! Way to go!
Even that is still a far cry from a kick to the crotch, and I'm so glad that they changed this, or didn't explore this direction further, as I just can't envision Mario, let alone the one in the movie, doing something like this to his own brother. It just doesn't add up. Now, the Mario Power Tennis scene is funny, even if still out of character, just because it is a spin-off game, and it's fun to see Mario, being angry or spiteful, because that's not typically how he is. But when you're making a film in which, you're giving Mario really his kind of first, true, real story, where this is kind of like canonizing who that character actually is, we don't want to be seeing this kind of action there. Now, it's totally fine to explore in a storyboard, it's fun to see where you could take those characters and those relationships, but ultimately I'm glad they went in a different direction, because it just doesn't work for who we know Mario to be, especially again within the context of the film, at least as it is now. And we can even see here that Spike seemingly wasn't even in place in the movie at this point, so they really ironed out a lot of details since this storyboard sequence was, made. Now let's go ahead and touch on the other storyboard sequence real quick, and we're not going to play the whole thing. This one's a lot more involved, because in this one, it's actually much more of a proper Mario Kart sequence, in that Peach is teaching Mario how to properly race. There's even actual item boxes in this one, along with a few other fun details, like how they use a classic Nintendo controller to steer the thing. We also see some development of Mario and Peach throughout this scene. A little bit, it's slightly touched on because, Peach is teaching Mario how to race, which almost feels like it could have taken the place or been instead of the training montage we have in the final movie. There's a few other, they get to some other hijinks. It actually gets pretty off the rails here, in which Mario actually literally starts, he gets knocked off his cart, and literally starts riding an eel at some point, which again, pops up in the full movie later on, that Mario actually riding the thing. And yeah, it's interesting again to see them explore some ideas for the film that were, kind of reworked or reshaped to appear elsewhere in a different context. And I think ultimately they went with the right decision here, especially because having items appear in a Mario Kart sequence separate from how they appear in the rest of the film, being out of question blocks, is a little confusing. I think the Mario movie arrived at a good middle ground where those items appear within the context of, being part of other characters, like the shells come from the Koopa Troopas, from Mario bouncing on them, and that's coherent with the rest of the film. So, no shade at all at these storyboards. I mean, a lot of the ideas may have been lifted from these initial storyboards, and it's just interesting to see all the ideas that they were exploring in advance of locking in a final script and film. But ultimately, I like where we arrived at. It is fun to see how they got here, and if you want to see this for yourself, you can. I'll link to them in the description below. I do like they actually use a sequence to explore a variety of Mario environments. This is actually Mushroom Gorge right here, and they actually go through the Crystal Cave later on too. I don't know where exactly it is. You can see a giant beanstalk there. So yeah, lots of fun ideas, but again, I'm happy with how things ended up. So I'll link to both these in the description below, as well as the actual website itself, so you can check them out for yourself. But yeah, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this? And more specifically, what do you think of Mario kicking Luigi in the freaking nuts? Like, that's freaking wild to me. I still can't believe that was even in consideration, really, but there we go. So with that, everyone, thanks for watching. Shout out to Portless Mario for discovering these, and with that, we'll catch you later. Bye, everyone.